It's happening again. The ground under Naples is rising faster than ever recorded. Streets are breaking. Steam comes through cracks. The air smells strange. Scientists call it bradyseism. That's a fancy word. It means the Earth is breathing, slowly breathing up and down. But this time, it's not slowing down. Campi Flegrei is the largest volcanic field in Europe. It sits right under the city of Naples in Italy, and it's showing signs of waking up. What lies beneath could change everything, because 40,000 years ago, this place nearly wiped out humans. The whole human species, almost gone. Now it's breathing again. Let's start with what's happening right now. Today, in the last 12 months, the ground rose more than 20 centimeters. That's about 8 inches. The ground lifted up like someone was pushing from below. People who live there say it feels strange, like living on a giant lung. The ground expands, contracts, then swells again. But this time, it isn't going back down. One woman in Pozzuoli said this: "The ground feels alive, my dishes rattle, my floor creaks. Something is moving under us." She's right, something is moving. 2 kilometers below the surface, magma is rising. Magma is hot melted rock deep in the earth. It's pushing up through cracks. Scientists once said this place was stable, safe, nothing to worry about. They were wrong. Instruments now show movement. Deep movement, the kind that hasn't happened in decades. Dr. Moretti is a volcanologist. That means he studies volcanoes. He said this: "This is not normal. The magma chamber pressure is reaching levels we haven't seen before." Let me explain what that means. Deep under Naples is a huge pocket of magma, a chamber like a balloon filled with hot liquid rock. When pressure builds in that balloon, bad things can happen. The balloon can pop. Thermal cameras show heat rising from below. Computer models track the magma moving upward, closer to the surface, closer to the city above. Scientists used to think the magma was stable, sitting still, not going anywhere. Now they know better. Then came October 3rd, 2025. On that day, the Earth shook 117 times. 117 earthquakes in a single day. People filmed it on their phones. Hanging lamps swaying, dogs barking, sirens in the distance. One video shows a kitchen. A woman is cooking. Suddenly, everything starts shaking. Pots rattle. Water splashes from a glass. She grabs the counter. "Again?" she says. "Again?" The earthquakes weren't big. Most people barely felt them. But scientists weren't looking at size. They were looking at number. 117 times in one day means something is very active down below. The Earth doesn't shake like that for no reason. Each shake is the magma moving, pushing, finding weak spots in the rock above. Think of it like this. Imagine you have a bottle of soda. You shake it and shake it. Pressure builds inside. Eventually, if you keep shaking, the cap blows off. That's what's happening under Naples. The bottle is shaking itself. Over 500,000 people live in this area. That's more than 500,000 lives sitting on top of a volcano that's waking up. Most of them go about their normal day. They go to work, kids go to school, families eat dinner. But under their feet, the ground is changing. Sensors buried in the earth measure everything. Ground movement, gas levels, temperature. Every hour, data flows into computers, and every hour, that data shows the same thing. The volcano is getting more active, not less, more. Steam vents appear in streets, holes where hot gas pushes through cracks in the pavement. The gas smells like rotten eggs. That's sulfur, the same stuff that comes from active volcanoes. Children in Pozzuoli sometimes wear masks now, not for sickness, for the smell. To understand what's coming, we need to look back, way back. To understand the danger, we need to remember what happened the last time this volcano really woke up, because this isn't the first time. And that's what makes it so scary. 39,000 years ago, long before cities existed, this place exploded. The eruption was so big it covered all of Europe in ash, all of it. From Italy to Russia, from Greece to England, the ash changed the planet's climate for decades. Some scientists believe this eruption helped kill the Neanderthals. Neanderthals were humans like us, but a different type. They lived in Europe for thousands of years. Then Campi Flegrei erupted. The ash darkened the sky. Temperatures dropped. Rivers got poisoned. plants died, animals died, and slowly the Neanderthals died too. We don't know for sure if the volcano caused it, but the timing matches, the evidence points to it. One eruption, one explosion, and a whole branch of humanity gone. That's how powerful this volcano is. Let me put the size in perspective. When Mount Vesuvius erupted in 79 AD, it destroyed Pompeii. That was terrible. Thousands died. Cities were buried. But Campi Flegrei's big eruption was 100 times larger. 100 times. It didn't just bury one city, it changed the whole continent. Scientists drill deep into the earth. They pull up core samples, long tubes of rock and dirt from deep below. In these samples, they find thick layers of ash, 2 meters thick in some places. That's over 6 feet of volcanic ash, covering everything. The ash spread from Italy to Greece to the Balkans and beyond. Imagine ash falling from the sky for weeks, months maybe, covering fields, burying forests, blocking out the sun. That's what happened 39,000 years ago. Since then, Campi Flegrei has erupted many more times, dozens of times, but smaller eruptions, less powerful. Each one was like a warning, a reminder that something bigger sleeps below. The most recent big eruption was in 1538. That created Monte Nuovo. Monte Nuovo means new mountain in Italian. The eruption happened suddenly. The ground split open, fire and rocks shot into the sky. In 1 week, a whole new mountain formed. People died. Villages were destroyed. The landscape changed forever. But here's what's scary. Before that 1538 eruption, the ground did exactly what it's doing now. It rose, slowly, steadily, for months. The ground lifted higher and higher. People noticed. They wrote about it in old documents. They described cracked buildings, steam from the ground, earthquakes that never stopped. Then the eruption came. Scientists today compare the ground movement from 1538 to the ground movement happening now. The patterns match, almost exactly, same speed, same signs, same warnings. But there's one difference. Today's movement is stronger and faster. The Romans knew about this place. They lived here 2,000 years ago. They built cities and ports right on top of the volcano, but they were scared of it. They called it the Fields of Fire. They built temples to Vulcan, the god of volcanoes and fire. Not because they loved fire, because they feared it. They knew this ground was dangerous. They saw the steam vents. They felt the earthquakes. They smelled the sulfur. But they lived here anyway, because the soil was rich. The location was perfect. The fishing was good. Same as today, same reasons. You can still see Roman ruins around Naples. Some are underwater now. The ground moved so much over centuries that whole buildings sank beneath the bay. The Temple of Serapis in Pozzuoli is the most famous. Its columns show water damage several meters up. That means the ground sank underwater, then rose again. The earth here moves up and down like a seesaw. Has for thousands of years, but right now it's moving up and not stopping. Solfatara is a crater near Naples. You can visit it. Walk inside an old volcanic crater. The ground is hot. Steam rises from holes. The smell is strong. It's one of the most active parts of Campi Flegrei, and it's in the middle of a city. Scientists measure gas coming from those vents. Carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide, other gases. Those gases tell a story. They show what's happening deep below. And right now, those gases are increasing. More gas means more magma activity. More magma activity means more danger. History isn't just repeating here. History is resurfacing, coming back, reminding us what this place can do. The same volcanic system that nearly ended humanity is waking up again, and this time, millions of people live right on top of it. In late October, things got worse, much worse. A new wave of earthquakes hit the region, 200 quakes in 36 hours. That's almost one earthquake every 10 minutes. For a day and a half straight, people reported cracks in their walls, cracks that weren't there yesterday, car alarms going off randomly, triggered by shaking nobody could see. One man filmed bubbles coming up from the ground, actual bubbles, gas pushing through the earth in his backyard. The video shows his garden, normal grass, normal dirt. Then suddenly, bubbles, like the earth is boiling underneath. That's not normal. That's not okay. Scientists started arguing about what it all means, about what to do. Inside Italy's Civil Protection Agency, meetings got heated, voices raised, tension high. Some scientists said this is unprecedented, never seen before. They said the danger is real and growing. Other scientists disagreed. They said it's probably just gas, a shallow gas event, nothing major. One scientist said, "We're measuring gas levels never recorded before. This is serious." Another said, "If we raise the alert, we cause panic. We need to be careful." But how do you balance safety and panic? How do you warn people without scaring them? It's not an easy question. Then satellites found something new, something that changed everything. Satellite radar can see through the ground, not perfectly, but it can detect big changes in heat and density. And what it showed was terrifying. A plume of magma rising toward the surface. A plume means a column, a rising pillar of molten rock pushing upward. Depth? Less than 2 kilometers, that's about 1 mile down. Temperature? Over 900 degrees Celsius, that's hot enough to melt steel, and it was moving up. Think about that, a column of melted rock, hot enough to melt metal, just 1 mile below a city. Scientists ran computer models. They calculated how fast it could rise, how soon it could reach the surface. The numbers were scary. Human stories started coming out, real people living through this. A shopkeeper in Pozzuoli said, "Every day we feel it. The dishes shake, the lights move, the air smells like rotten eggs." A mother with 2 children said, "We're scared, but where do we go? This is our home. Our whole life is here." Another person said, "My grandmother remembers the earthquakes in the 1980s. She says this feels worse, stronger." Kids in local schools do earthquake drills now, like fire drills, but for the earth shaking. They practice getting under desks, moving away from windows, staying calm. 9-year-olds learning how to survive an earthquake. That's the reality here. Then the gas measurements changed. Dramatically, sulfur dioxide levels spiked, shot up to record highs. Sulfur dioxide is the gas that choked Pompeii. When Vesuvius erupted, this gas filled the air. People couldn't breathe. They died gasping. Now the same gas is increasing at Campi Flegrei. Scientists who study volcanoes around the world know what this means. These are precursors, warning signs, the same signs seen before major eruptions worldwide. Mount Pinatubo in the Philippines showed these signs before it erupted in 1991. Mount Toba in Indonesia showed them before its super eruption. Santorini in Greece showed them before it exploded and destroyed an entire civilization. The pattern is clear: ground rising, earthquakes increasing, gas levels spiking. These aren't random events, they're connected. They're all part of the same process. Magma pushing up, pressure building, the earth preparing to release. But here's what nobody knows. Nobody can know. When will it release? Tomorrow? Next month? 10 years from now? Volcanoes don't follow schedules. They don't warn us in advance. They don't wait until we're ready. They erupt when the pressure gets too high, when the rock above can't hold anymore, when physics takes over. One scientist put it this way: "It's like watching a pot of water boil. You know it will boil, you can see it getting hotter, but you don't know exactly which second the bubbles will start. The earth under Naples is that pot, getting hotter, getting closer to boiling. And over 500,000 people are sitting right on top of it. The signs are all there. The warnings are clear. But pressure doesn't build forever. Eventually, it has to release. The question is how and when, and how bad it will be." Let's talk about what could happen, what scientists fear might happen. This isn't made up. This is based on real science, real models, real possibilities. It starts with silence. That's what many survivors of volcanic eruptions say. Right before it happens, there's strange silence. Animals stop making noise. Birds stop singing. Even the wind seems to stop. Then comes a pulse, a low vibration that spreads through the ground. Monitors start beeping. Alarms go off. Scientists rush to check their data. The ground rises 6 centimeters in one night. 6 centimeters is about 2 inches. That might not sound like much, but when ground that size moves that fast, it means something huge is happening below. At this rate, scientists calculate the pressure at depth could break through within days. Once the seal breaks, once the rock above cracks open, there's no stopping what follows. Here's what the worst case looks like. Magma breaks through at Solfatara. That's the most active crater, right in the middle of populated areas. When magma meets air, it explodes violently. A pyroclastic surge rushes out. Pyroclastic means fire broken. It's a cloud of hot gas, ash, and rock that flows like water. But this water is 500 degrees Celsius, hot enough to burn everything instantly. This surge races across the land at hundreds of kilometers per hour, faster than cars on a highway. Everything within 10 kilometers could be buried in minutes. Everything, houses, cars, people. The eruption column shoots up into the sky, 25 kilometers high. That's 15 miles, higher than airplanes fly. Ash spreads on the wind. Within hours, it reaches Rome. Within days, it covers southern Europe. Airports close, all of them. Ash destroys jet engines. Planes can't fly. Crops fail. Ash falls on fields like snow. But this snow is poison. It kills plants, ruins soil. Acid rain follows. The gases mix with clouds. The rain burns plants and corrodes buildings. Temperatures drop. The ash blocks sunlight. Even just a little drop in temperature hurts crops across Europe. The same chemical fingerprint that covered Europe 39,000 years ago returns. This isn't science fiction. This is what supervolcanic eruptions do. We know because we've studied the evidence. We've seen it before. For decades, we studied volcanoes as separate problems, isolated threats. But this is different. This is civilization meeting geology. This is modern life built on top of ancient danger. Over 500,000 people live inside the red zone. The red zone is what scientists call the most dangerous area. If an eruption starts, these people need to evacuate, leave their homes, leave everything. But evacuating 500,000 people takes time. Days, maybe weeks. You need buses, trains, roads, organization, places for people to go. And the Earth doesn't wait. The Earth doesn't care about evacuation plans. When it's ready to erupt, it erupts. One scientist said this: "We can predict weather. We can track hurricanes. We can see storms coming. But volcanoes, we get hints. We get warnings. But we never know for sure." That uncertainty is terrifying. Imagine being told, your home might be destroyed. Maybe tomorrow. Maybe in 10 years. We don't know. But you should probably leave. Would you leave? Would you abandon your home, your job, your life? Based on maybe? Most people wouldn't. Most people stay. They hope. They pray. They trust it won't happen. But hope isn't a plan. And prayer doesn't stop magma. Here's the strangest part. The scariest part. It hasn't erupted, not yet. All these signs, all these warnings, all this pressure. And still, the Earth holds. The pressure is there. The magma is there. The danger is real. But the seal hasn't broken, not yet. Scientists don't know why. Maybe the rock above is stronger than expected. Maybe the magma needs more pressure. Maybe luck. Nobody knows. So, life continues. People go to work. Kids go to school. Families eat dinner. And underneath, the Earth holds its breath. For now. The pressure holds. For now. But everyone knows. Scientists, government officials, local people. Everyone knows this can't last forever. Something will give. Eventually, the question is when, and whether we'll be ready. The Earth beneath Naples sleeps again. For now. But its dreams are restless. Dawn breaks over the city. The sun rises over the bay. Beautiful. Peaceful. From above, everything looks normal. Cars on roads, boats in the harbor, people walking to work. You wouldn't know. Looking at it, you'd never know. But 2 kilometers below, something stirs. Each tremor is a reminder. Each puff of steam, each small earthquake, reminders that we don't live on the Earth. We live within it. Scientists keep working. Every day they check their instruments, they measure, they record, they watch. They look for changes, any changes, because any change could be the warning they need. Children walk to school above the caldera. Caldera is the big bowl-shaped area where a volcano collapsed. The kids walk right across it every day. They laugh. They play. They're just kids being kids. Most don't know they're walking on one of the most dangerous pieces of ground on Earth. Should they know? Should we tell them? There's no easy answer. Campi Flegrei isn't the only sleeping giant. There are others around the world. Yellowstone in America, Taupo in New Zealand, Aira in Japan, Toba in Indonesia, all supervolcanoes, all capable of changing the world if they erupt. Humanity has mapped the stars. We've sent robots to Mars. We've split atoms and built computers that think. But the planet beneath our feet, still unpredictable, still mysterious. We can measure it, we can monitor it, but we can't control it, and we certainly can't stop it. Campi Flegrei isn't just a volcano, it's a message that even the oldest civilizations stand on borrowed time. The Romans built here, they thrived here, they thought they understood this land. Then it erupted, and their world changed. We build here now, we thrive here now. We think we understand, but do we? One elderly woman in Pozzuoli, 87 years old, remembers the big earthquake crisis in the 1980s. Thousands of people evacuated then. They thought the volcano would erupt. It didn't. People came back. Life returned to normal. The danger passed. But it didn't pass, she says now. It just waited. And now it's back. She's right. The danger never left. It just paused. Scientists around the world study Campi Flegrei. Not just Italian scientists. Scientists from everywhere. Because what happens here matters everywhere. If a supervolcanic eruption happens in our modern world, with modern populations and modern technology, what happens? How do we handle it? How do we survive it? These aren't just Italian questions. These are human questions. We may never know when it will happen. Tomorrow, a decade, a century, volcanoes work on their own timeline, a timeline longer than human lives, longer than nations, longer than civilizations. But when the ground moves again, and it will move again, we'll remember this moment. The moment the Earth whispered its warning, and we chose whether to listen. Some people ask, should we evacuate everyone? Should we abandon Naples? But where would 500,000 people go? How do you relocate a city? And what if we evacuate and nothing happens? What if we wait 10 years and it still doesn't erupt? Do people come back? Do they rebuild? Do they trust the science the next time? These are impossible questions with no good answers. All we can do is watch, monitor, prepare the best we can, and respect the Earth. Because the Earth is older than us, stronger than us, more powerful than anything we've ever built. We forget that sometimes. We build cities and think we're in control, but we're not in control. We never were. We're guests on this planet. Temporary guests living on land that can change in moments. That's not a scary thought. Not really. It's a humbling thought, an honest thought, a truth. The Earth beneath Naples glows faintly on thermal cameras, a soft red glow. Heat from below. Not enough to worry about today, but enough to remember, enough to watch. The sleeping giant stirs in its sleep. Maybe it will wake soon, maybe not for 100 years, but it will wake, eventually, and when it does, we'll know that we had warning, we had signs, we had time to think. The Earth doesn't surprise us. It warns us. In its own way, in its own time. The question is, are we listening?